Good morning, welcome to my channel. My name is Jessie and today I'm starting a new reading vlog. Also, if I look like I just woke up, that's because I just woke up not long ago. I'm trying really fast to get this intro done before Rowan has to get up. I can hear him rolling around in his bed and like doing that thing where he bumps the wall a couple of times before he actually wakes up. So I'm trying to introduce this real fast. Anyways, today I'm starting a new reading vlog. I am going to try to read 3 YA thrillers. One of them is a fairly new release, and the other two, the other one I think came out last year, and I'm not quite sure how old the third one is. Also, I can't remember the titles of the other two. But the first one I'll be reading is Ace of Spades by abike-iyimide. I'm very sorry for mispronouncing the author's name. I promise I'm trying to get it right. And maybe one day I will. But I think I've talked about this book so many times on this channel recently. But basically it follows 2 private school students who just happen to be black, and most of the school I think is very white. And this thing called Aces is harassing them through text message, and it's just like a mix of Get Out meets Gossip Girl. And so I'm excited to actually be officially starting this book today. We're actually getting ready to go out of town for the 4th of July. We're gonna go see Chris's parents. They live a couple hours away from us, and where they live, I don't think we're actually doing anything. We might like go, I guess, drive up somewhere and watch fireworks or do sprinklers in their backyard or something. Sprinklers, I meant sparklers in their backyard. But we're not really doing a lot, I guess. But today's Thursday, July 1st. Tomorrow's Friday. We're probably gonna leave when Chris gets home from work. So today and tomorrow, I want to try to get the house under control, which is not bad. I've actually kept up with it pretty good this time, this week. And then I need to pack for us. And then today, Rowan and I, before it starts raining again tomorrow, I think we might try to go swimming at my cousin's house. She has a slightly larger pool, and she lives close enough that we can just walk over there. Anyways, though, that really isn't related to this book at all. But I'm very excited to start this book. I overslept. I've been, for most of the past 2 weeks, waking up at about 6:30 and working out before Rowan wakes up. The past 2 or 3 days, I've kind of struggled with that. And so I'm probably gonna have to do my workout with Rowan up and watching me, which makes me feel a little guilty, but it'll be okay. Get our workout done, and then he can help me clean up, and then we'll go swimming. It's just a lot of extra stuff. But I will probably catch up with you again once I actually start this book, and I've read probably somewhere between a quarter to a third. But I am very excited for this book, and I'm also very excited for the other books in this reading vlog. I think I'm in the mood for thrillers right now, and I'm hoping it'll go well. Alright, hey, I'm very sorry you can hear my AC running in the background. It is still pretty hot here, and around this time of day, our AC kind of struggles to keep up. So I'm very sorry if it's a little distracting in the background. I hopefully will fix that for other clips, but just in case I don't, once again, I'm sorry. I'm approximately a third of the way through Ace of Spades, and I think see this little pink mark. I went ahead before I started reading and flagged the 1/3 and 2/3 marks. That way I would, even if I was reading to the story, I'd remember to like stop around that mark and kind of update you guys to make sure that I'm giving at least 3 updates, you know, 1 at a third of the way, 1 at 2/3, and 1 at the end. And so far I'm very intrigued and interested in the story. I'm enjoying the story, although I feel very sorry for what the 2 main characters are going through. Devon and Chiyamaka, they are going through a lot right now. Aces seems to be primarily targeting them, and also this other black student named Jack. But so far, Chiyamaka and Devon are the ones who are getting the most blast put off on them. And then this other kid named Scotty, he's kind of just thrown into it as collateral. Nothing's really about him. but since he's connected to Chimaka and Devin in one way or another, he's just kind of thrown in. Chimaka, or it's not Chimaka, it's Devin's POV, he's kind of getting, I think, the worst blast in some ways, at least so far in the book. He's been outed to his school as gay, and the issue isn't necessarily that, it's an issue if people at his school knows, because it's not world ending that his school knows. For the most part, people at his school seem to be fairly open to different sexualities, but it's just when things get back home to his neighborhood, what happens when his mom finds out, what happens whenever these people in his neighborhood find out, how will that affect him? Will he still be accepted by his mom? That's one of his big worries. So far, I don't know which way his mom would lean, but I'm really hoping that if his mom does find out in the book, that maybe he'll get accepted by her. But I know, unfortunately, that's not everyone's story. At the same time, Devin's really stressed about that. He's really stressed about, I guess, more people getting hurt by being connected to him in some ways. And then Chimaka, she has really built herself up over these past 3 years in high school to be this like queen bee, and now it's her senior year, she should be on top. She should be just raking in the rewards of all this work she's put in while still trying to put in enough work to stay on top. But then Aces is coming along and it's kind of destroying everything for her, and it's kind of framed her as a thief in a few ways, and just kind of, it's an issue. And her attacks have so far, even in her own words, been slightly less personal than Devin's. They're still attacking her character, but they're not necessarily attacking her identity fully at this point yet. But she has recently, I think, put the dots together that, you know, so far everyone that Aces has blasted has been black, or at least a person of color. I think Jack is black, I'm not quite sure. So things are definitely getting really interesting and intense. I listened to the audiobook, I think, for chapters 7 and 8 while I did dishes earlier, and I think I like reading the physical book so far. I think I will personally probably get a better effect from the physical book. I think I'll be affected more. I think I will have a better reading experience from the physical book. But the audiobook did help me realize that I was mispronouncing Devon's name. I was earlier pronouncing his name as Devin, so I'm sorry about that. I am definitely enjoying this book so far. I'm a little stressed. I'm actually very stressed. I'm really hoping for the best for the characters. Other than my reading news, I've done pretty much everything I've set out to do today. The only thing I still need to do is make my packing list in my bullet journal, and that way tomorrow, whenever Rowan's taking his nap, or just sometime at some point tomorrow, I can like actually check off my list and pack stuff before we head out to Chris's parents. I'm still hoping that I will finish this book tomorrow. I think I'm probably gonna read a little bit more tonight. I honestly might listen to the audiobook while I make my packing list. Hopefully I'll be updating you guys at 2/3 in the morning, and hopefully updating you again at 3/3 or at the end, sometime before we leave to go to Chris's parents, because I most likely will not be vlogging while I'm there because I get self-conscious enough videoing in front of my 9-year partner. I don't know that I could do it comfortably in front of his family, so there's that. But yeah, today Rowan and I went swimming. It was fun. We went to my cousin's house. They have a fairly big pool and it's fairly deep. At least Rowan can't reach, so he has to wear these floaties. And he's a little scared at first, but he really enjoyed it by the end once he got comfortable with the water and like with the floaties holding him up, once he, I guess, trusted that he wasn't going to sink. And then I got my kitchen cleaned, which I think the account is called Not the Worst Cleaner on TikTok. I'll like kind of link their stuff below. But I know how to clean my house. It's just I needed help with a schedule, and they have like a cleaning TikTok page, but they also have a link in there, just in their bio, I guess, that has a link to like this cleaning schedule that I've been following this week. So far, I followed it well this week. I kind of had to modify it because, you know, we don't have like an actual entry area, and then I consider my dining room part of my living room. So like it's kind of modified a little bit. I kind of modified it a little bit for myself, but it's definitely helped me with my stick through with the cleaning schedule this week, and I kind of like it. The real task will be next week though, once I don't start on a Monday, since we won't get back to where we live until probably Monday evening or late Monday afternoon. Anyways though, like I said, I probably won't give you an actual update on this book again until tomorrow, unless I stay up too late tonight. But I'm hoping I don't, because I would like to get up and work out before I go to Chris's parents, and like clean, and just, I like leaving with a clean house because my sister comes and she takes care of our pets. But anyways, that's enough rambling for now, and I will update you once I read next third of Ace of Spades. Alright, so I'm about 2/3 of the way through Ace of Spades now. I'm still very hopeful that I'll finish this today, but I will be honest and say that I've been mostly reading the audiobook today. I believe last night I told you that I wasn't really sure if I would have as good of an experience with the audiobook, but then today I really need to clean, I really need to pack because we're planning to leave whenever Chris gets home from work. I still need to take a shower and wash my hair, and there's just several things we need to do still. So I ended up listening to the audiobook. And so far, the deeper I've gotten into the audiobook, the more I enjoy it. This is incredibly stressful. I'm enjoying the book, and I kind of feel bad for saying that I'm enjoying the book because neither of the POV characters are having a good time. They are both facing a ton of racism because it's officially been confirmed that Aces is targeting them based off their race. Devon is still experiencing quite a bit of homophobia, I guess, because he's, been outed, and his life has essentially been turned upside down everywhere except for mostly at home so far, and there's just a lot going on, and it's very stressful. There are a few people that I hope will still have a chance at being good people in the end, people who will ultimately end up being on Devon and Chimaka's sides, but those people, I'm pretty aware that chances are that that's not how it's going to work. I'm very hopeful that somehow Devon and Chimaka will have a happy ending, that by the end of the book, they'll have maybe gotten revenge somehow and everything will be okay and their futures, won't actually be harmed too badly. That might be, a lot of false hope at this point because I have never read anything else by this author. I can't remember if this is a debut book or not. And so I don't quite know what to expect from how this author ends their stories. And so I am very stressed. I'm very much enjoying this book. I'm probably going to keep listening to the audiobook because I'm still hopeful that I will finish this before we leave later this evening, and that hopefully I will be able to update you guys and finish this book before I leave, because otherwise I probably won't update you until I get back Monday evening or Tuesday. We're getting back sometime Monday evening, but I don't know if I'd update you Monday evening or Tuesday morning, and I won't even update you when it's fresh in my mind, because I think that's part of the fun of vlogs is you kind of see people come across stuff that's fresh on their minds, like you see people's immediate thoughts, and then by the time I get to the end of the vlog, this will have had time to marinate my mind, and I'll have I guess more developed feelings, and just that's kind of why I like vlogs, is seeing people's initial impressions as they go through the book. Also, I need to correct something that I can't remember if I said or not earlier, but I think earlier in the book I thought Jack might have been black or a person of color. I think he's actually a white character, so sorry about that. I don't quite know why I thought that, but sorry. Devon and Chimaka are facing a lot of betrayals right now, and I'm still hopeful that everything will turn out okay in the end, but also I'm aware that based off how the story is going, there could be a tragic ending, and I'm a little stressed and worried about Chimaka and Devon. But anyways, I will update you again once I've finished this book. Alright, hey, so I am currently cooking dinner. It has been several days since I last spoke to you. It is the Tuesday after the 4th of July. We got back last night from our trip. I obviously didn't finish Ace of Spades early enough to talk to you about it, but I really enjoyed Ace of Spades. Once you find out who the Aces is, it sucks, but it's believable. Especially whenever you think that, with how racist everything still is and will probably likely be for a long time to come, based off current progress, it's definitely believable. It's a story that's kind of one of those, it's kind of like when no one's watching. It's one of those things that seems unbelievable, but when you really think about it, it's more worrisome and scary because it's something that's not out of the realm of possibilities. It's something that could completely happen. It's not insane or much of a stretch to think that some figure at a private school would try to find a way to get the only 2 black kids out of the school. And then you kind of, as the story goes on, you kind of figure out how everything's connected. Chimaka and Devon, they kind of figure out, that this isn't the first time this has happened, and then they connect to this other group. But ultimately, I love the way the story ended. Even though it sucked, everything that Chimaka and Devon had to go through, the end of the story was amazing. I love that, this might be a slight spoiler, but I love that despite what they had to live through and what they had to go through, that Chimaka and Devon ultimately still got to do the things they wanted to do with their life, it seems like. And at the same time, it sucks that they also had to make this organization to, I guess, help students who might end up like them. But it's also nice that they were able to get themselves into the position to make those resources. It was a very tense book, but I absolutely loved it. And by the way, I rated it 5 stars. I'm not quite sure if I've said that yet. I also started The Good Girls earlier today. I cannot remember the name of the author. So in another clip, I'll tell you the author's name. And I also don't actually know what the book's about. I just know it was classified in the YA thriller section of Libby. And there's a dead girl and a lot of suspects who are also her classmates. I have a feeling that, like, I think I know who might have done it, but the, like, process to get there is interesting. One girl named Claude, she's, like, you know, the prime suspect at the beginning. She is often in trouble. She's outspoken. She's just, you know, the one who should be the prime suspect. She has, like, a vague criminal history. And so, like, she's the one who's being blamed so far. And then there's this other girl named Avery. She is the cheer captain. She's very goody-goody. But also, I'm getting icky vibes from her because of just the way she talks and stuff. It's like she, you know, gives hints. It's like, but it's not my job. I'm not the detective. She kind of talks like that. And there's another girl named Gwen. She and the dead girl Emma were essentially competing for this big life-changing scholarship that they both wanted and they both need in order to get out of the town they're in that they both hate. And Gwen, who lost her sister the same way, or a similar way at least, to how Emma died. And so it's all really interesting how it's connecting. I'm also really enjoying the way the story is told. A lot of the chapters start with interviews and then switch to first-person POV for a character, but then you get some chapters that are third-person POV from a different character. There's also this new blog that almost seems vaguely Gossip Girl-esque. So this might be a Gossip Girl-themed vlog if the third book I read for this has any element of that, but I don't think it will. This book is going really well so far. I am enjoying it, and I'm having fun with it. I was a little worried though because I read some reviews, which I shouldn't have done. I know better than to read reviews, at least on Goodreads. I will read, you know, Instagram reviews, but those are different. I don't know how they're different, but they're different to me. But I was reading some reviews on Goodreads, and someone was complaining about the book being, I guess, boring. And so far, I'm definitely not bored. I feel like it's going to be a little convoluted at some point. I'm not quite sure why I think that, but it's just because I feel like Avery did it, but then Claude's being suspicious, but at the same time, she's too much of a prime suspect. And then Gwen, maybe she could have done it because her and Emma were competing very much for this one scholarship. But at the same time, Gwen lost her sister this way. And also, Gwen seems like pretty adamant, you know, that the police ruled her sister's death as suicide. And so she's pretty adamant, like, you know, why would this one be different, I guess? I don't know. But anyways, I'm a third of the way through The Good Girls, and so I will update you whenever I get to the next third, whenever I get to, like, I guess, the 2/3 mark. Alright, I am now about 2/3 of the way through The Good Girls by Claire Eliza Bartlett. I am really enjoying it so far. I'm having a really good time. I am confused in a good way. I don't quite know what's going on. It's slightly predictable in some ways, but I don't think I mind it because, like, I have guesses about what's going on, but there's a chance I'm still wrong and it could still make sense that I'm wrong. But also, it would be fun to guess right. Like, I think Emma, I don't know that she's really dead. For, like, as you read the book, there's, like, these vibes I'm getting that she might still be alive, but I don't know who she's targeting. Because, like, her letters, for the most part, seem to be targeting one person or her diary entries, but then this other part seems to be targeting someone else, at least in one spot. So I don't quite know what to expect and where the story is going to go at the end. I don't know if, like, Claude, like, whose side Claude is on. I feel like Avery and Gwen might be on the same side, but at the same time, I feel like Emma or Avery knows more than she's letting on, which obviously she does, I guess. But I mean that I can't decide if Avery is the one who supposedly killed Emma, if she's actually dead, or what role is Avery playing in all this. I'm just very interested to see how this goes. I'm having a really good time. I'm having a lot of fun. I've actually been listening to the audiobook on and off since Rowan's nap, and then since Chris got home from work, I've been listening to it pretty continuously. I'm definitely going to listen to it a little bit more tonight. So with any luck, you'll be getting an update pretty early tomorrow about how this book has gone. just finished filming my June wrap-up video. I'm kind of running behind on my videos this month. There's kind of a lot going on right now. And so I just don't know when things are really organized again. I'm trying to get back on track, but I don't know if it's going to happen. But anyways, I just filmed my June wrap-up video. That will likely be up before this. But I also wanted to let you know that I finished The Good Girls by Claire Eliza Bartlett yesterday morning. But we were so busy yesterday that I never got a chance to actually update you. But I loved that book so much. It was great to me. I had such a good time reading it. It was so interesting, so fun. And it was a 5-star read for me. So now we're at 2 5-star reads, and I'm really hoping we'll get a third one. But there's no promises. I love this book so much. I loved finding out what was actually going on at the end of the book. I loved the way it all ended up working together. I had such a good time with this book. I'm actually really hoping the next book I read will have the same element, where the first book, you know, you had the Aces character kind of like leaking information about these characters in like a negative way. And then in The Good Girls, you have this like blogger leaking information to like kind of, you know, point out when the police are wrong and point out the police aren't really doing their job right, and that there's more to the story than what they're seeing because they're refusing to investigate correctly. I'm hoping that there will be a figure kind of like that in this third book I'm reading, but I don't know. I really don't know how to talk about The Good Girls without spoiling it, and I don't want to spoil it because it's a fairly new book. I think it came out at the end of 2020, but just know I loved it and I had a good time with it. It was so much fun. I do want to pick up a physical copy and reread it. I loved that, you know, that there were interviews, there were blog posts, there were diary entries, there were chapters told from a first person point of view, there were chapters told from a third person point of view. I loved, like, I don't want to say the repetition, but like the repetition of some stuff, especially in like, you know, Avery's chapters. It was just, I didn't like Avery at first. At the end of the book, I don't mind her so much. I don't know if she's a favorite, but I don't mind her. I also don't understand if she's supposed to be super ditzy or not. Because, you know, they keep talking about her being a cheerleader and like she's not expected to get good grades and do all this other kind of stuff. And I can't remember if she ever does actually have good grades. But then they're talking about her going to like cheer at Harvard or something. And so I never quite understood that about Avery's character. But I just loved everything else about the book so much, so that's kind of ignored. But no, I had a really good time with that book. The next book I plan to read is Tiny Pretty Things by, I think it's Donnell Clayton. And this book, I know it involves ballet in private school, and it's, according to Goodreads, it's a thriller. And so I'm gonna start the audiobook in a minute. I forgot to do dishes last night, and then Rowan and I went with my sister to help her run some errands this morning since she went with us to do ours yesterday. And so I'm gonna listen to the audiobook probably on my iPad because I film on my phone. So I'm gonna start the audiobook while I do some dishes because I kind of got lazy and forgot to do my dishes last night. I got everything put in this, I got, you know, leftovers put in the fridge, and then I sat down on the couch and I forgot. So I'm probably gonna go take y'all with me while I do dishes and start the Tiny Pretty Things book, and I will hopefully update you around the 33% mark. third of the way through Pretty Little Things by Donnell Clayton, and I don't quite know how I feel about it yet. So far, it's much slower paced than the other 2 books I've read, and then it's just, I can't quite tell what's going on. There's a lot of drama, but it's not even quite fun drama. I think it'd be fun if it's more fast paced maybe. I don't know. This book has me very frustrated, and I'm not quite sure why. This book follows 3 ballerinas at some ballet school in New York, and I guess they had auditions for the Nutcracker, and Gigi, who is new and black, I think she's the only black girl in their like year level, got the lead role as, I think, the Sugar Plum Fairy. And so Bet, who's wanted that role her whole life because her older sister got it, and so it should just be given to her, is kind of the way she seems to like think about it. And then she's incredibly jealous. And then June, she is, I think, half Asian. I think she's half Korean, half white. And she is just very much like, you know, her mom's like, well, if you don't start getting leads, you're gonna get out. She also is jealous, but for a kind of different reason. And so far, this book's just kind of stressing me out, and like I said, in not a fun way. You already know from the beginning that a bunch of the girls, mainly Bet, chased off and like badly injured, I think, a girl from the last year who was new. And I think that's gonna play a role somehow, but I'm not quite sure yet. I'm interested. I want to see where the story's going, but at this point in time, it's not wowing me in the same way that Ace of Spades and The Good Girls did. But I am probably about to go listen to the audiobook while I get the bathroom cleaned up, because it's the day I clean the bathroom and I need to mop today, so I'm probably gonna just have the audiobook kind of on all day while I do little things around the house. And I will update you again whenever I get to the 2/3 mark. And hopefully at that point, it'll be a little more exciting. Hopefully I'll be having a little bit more fun with it. All right, hey, I am now about 2/3 of the way through Tiny Pretty Things. My house is clean. Rowan and I have worked on a speech. Rowan will likely be taking a nap pretty soon since it's already like almost 3. And I am not quite sure how I'm feeling about this book so far. I feel like it's almost plotless. And this was supposed to be a YA thriller vlog, and the first 2 books were definitely more thrillers. Whereas this book, I'm not quite sure where it stands. And the way I determined if a book was technically a thriller is if I'd already heard it classified as a thriller, but also whenever I went into Goodreads and would read the summary, I'd scroll all the way to the bottom where all the tags were, and I looked for it to say thriller. And the last tag on Tiny Pretty Things was thriller, so I was hoping there might be a little bit of a thriller element, and I think there might be one finally starting to come into play 2/3 of the way into the book, but I'm not quite sure, because Bet has admitted to some of the things she's done to get even or to pick at Gigi and like kind of make her lose her confidence and, you know, remind her like, hey, as Bet, I'm still the one in charge. But whenever Gigi confronts Bet, Bet seems confused, and of course Gigi assumes she's lying. And so far I'm not quite sure because I haven't had a POV with Bet since then, I don't think. But there's just kind of a lot going on, and so like it feels like, you know, a thriller element is starting to come into play. But for the most part, most of the book has been fairly slow and like kind of plotless to me. It's a lot of, you know, day to day and like a little bit of drama between the girls. They're all incredibly competitive. They all want to be the best. They're all competing with themselves and then with each other. And there's just a lot going on. One thing I found most interesting so far for me personally is that Gigi has like a health condition that may affect her dancing at any point in the future. She doesn't want any of the other girls at the school to know, because, you know, they may see her as weak. They may, you know, try to use it against her, even though I'm assuming, you know, most of the staff and stuff already knows anyways, so they can be on the watch. But the really interesting thing is that Gigi's condition she was born with is actually one that Rowan has. And Rowan hasn't had to have surgery for his yet. There's still a chance it will close on his own, and Rowan's is nowhere near as severe as Gigi's sounds. But it's just so interesting and a little scary too to think about, you know, if Rowan has, you know, his health, like what if his health is like in some way similar to Gigi's in the story, where, you know, like his birth defect, you know, never closes on its own, and he eventually has to have surgery. And like if the surgery doesn't work like it's supposed to, and he still wants to be super passionate about any activity, that must be insane for Gigi's parents to deal with, and that's very interesting to me to read about. But for the most part, I'm liking the story and I'm interested, but I'm not loving it yet. I do kind of wish it was a little bit more fast-paced, and I also want to say there's actually this Donnell Clayton co-wrote this book, I guess. There's another author whose name I kept forgetting to add whenever I was saying it earlier, and it is Sona Potra. I'm very sorry for mispronouncing the author's name. I'm going to look up how to pronounce it correctly sometime between now and whenever I finish reading this book. That way, hopefully the last clip I can, you know, correctly pronounce the author's name. But basically, it's been okay. It's just not a favorite so far. Alright, so I just finished Tiny Pretty Things by Donnell Clayton and Sona Potra, and I rated it 4 stars. As much as the book stressed me out and frustrated me at the beginning, by the end, I really loved it and had a lot more fun with it. Well, it never felt like the book really had like a super cohesive plot, or at least a plot that I could easily follow, other than like, you know, all 3 girls wanted to be on top. I appreciate that, especially around the 50% mark and on. The book kind of picked up a little bit, and there was a little bit more happening. I don't know quite how to describe it, but basically I enjoyed it much more by the end. I started having more fun with it. I'm not quite sure yet if I plan to read the second book or not, mostly because I kind of like the way it ended, where there's so many unanswered questions. You know from the beginning of the book that, you know, Bet wants to put Gigi in her place and, you know, make sure that Gigi knows that Bet is on top. She would like to make Gigi leave, but she's not out to like kill her or anything, supposedly. And then June, the main reason she dislikes Bet is just because she seems to dislike everyone, but also because, or not Bet, June, the main reason she seems to dislike Gigi is partly because she dislikes everyone, but Gigi keeps getting these lead roles that June feels she should be getting, on top of the fact that if June doesn't start getting lead roles, then her mom's gonna pull her out of ballet school and put her into a regular high school where she will focus only on academics. And so June joins in with like the hazing essentially of Gigi. And then, like, you know, there's other people who are doing stuff too. And by the end of the book, you know some of the things Bet has for sure done. You know some of the things Gigi has for sure done. There's this other girl named Eleanor who's played at least one prank on Gigi. But you don't know about a couple other things. You don't know who did the thing with the mirror, who did the thing with the pictures, and who was the one who did the final thing at the end of the book to Gigi. And so it's really interesting in that aspect that, like, I kind of liked that that's unanswered, because there's 2 prime suspects, that two guys who actually may have played a big role in that. And then other thing I really liked is that by the end of the book, no one really got what they wanted. Like, yeah, June got her moment in the spotlight for whatever reason, right? But then this girl that they essentially hazed out of school and bullied out of school the year before comes and like steals the show out of nowhere for somehow. And then Bet, she kind of ultimately ends up, you know, in this big trouble for something, and she doesn't even get a chance to shine at the end. Okay, baby, give me 1 minute, okay? Rowan wants more milk, so I'll be right back. I'm back. So what happens to Gigi at the end of the book is really awful and it sucks, but it's really interesting to see how that's used in the story, and I'm interested to see how that will play out in the next book. But at the same time, I didn't love this book. Like, I didn't love it, but I really enjoyed it, and I had a good time with it. Once I got past, you know, about the 50% mark, it started to really pick up. And I never disliked, yeah, baby. I never disliked the book, but especially at the beginning, I was so stressed because I didn't know what was going on, where the story was going. Anyways, though, that is it for my YA thriller vlog. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. I would really like to see what other people think about these books, especially Tiny Pretty Things, because I think out of all the books I've read, it was technically my least favorite for this vlog, but I did really enjoy it and have a good time with it. Anyways, though, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I will talk to Rowan's trying to start a movie. But anyways, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I will talk to you later. Bye.